Welcome to episode 4 of our Ready, Set, Go exam countdown series. My name is Krutika and I'm joined today by my colleague Sonia. It's great to have you with me today, Sonia.
It's wonderful to be here, Krutika.
With 6 weeks to go, in this video we'll be discussing how you can get ahead for your next exam session. It's been over a week since results came out, and hopefully you've had time to reflect on your experience and you're ready to push ahead with your plans. The exam entry deadline is approaching, so we hope that the advice that we share today will inspire you to book your exam if you haven't done so already. So Sonia, what should students be focusing on at this stage of their learning journey?
You know, Krutika, students often find it most difficult to find a starting point. And as you said, reflection is key. It's a very important part of the process, and students should take the time to think about what went well with their last exam, and what did not go so well, and most importantly, what are they going to do to improve performance next time? And be honest. Don't try and sugarcoat, and really be honest with yourself during your reflection process. Now, once you've reflected, you've got to then decide, right, what exams am I going to take next? That is your starting point. And once you've decided your exams, it's important that you get a study plan in place, because this is going to help you to be focused. It's going to have you set that end goal where you're going to have a clear plan of action, and you're going to take the exam, break it down into small manageable tasks, and really move forward with this goal in mind, that I'm going to take this exam at this point. So once you've decided what exam you're going to take, decide how you're going to study for the exam. Now, the ACCA has the ACCA Study Hub, which is packed full of useful resources, study materials, flashcards, quizzes, practice questions. Or if you're able to, we strongly recommend you study with an approved learning partner, because this is going to keep you focused and they'll be able to give you guidance as you progress with your studies. Now, if you've previously taken an exam at applied skills level, there is also the My Exam Performance tool. Now, this tool is really useful as it's going to give you feedback on your previous performance. And so it will look at things like time management, the level of your technical knowledge. So it will help you to identify your strengths and also your weaknesses according to your previous exam, and to give you time to address those weaknesses, close any knowledge gaps that you may have identified. Now, when we talk about closing knowledge gaps, we've also got our Get Ready modules. Now, our Get Ready modules are accessed via our Student Virtual Learning Centre, and this is made up of quizzes if you're taking the applied skills level, and for those at strategic professional level, we also have our knowledge recap courses. So lots to help you get started on your journey.
That's some really great resources there, Sonia. And I actually want to circle back to something you said earlier, which was about planning and really breaking things down. So do you think 6 weeks is enough to prepare for the next exam?
My short answer to that is yes. Absolutely, it is. You must be realistic. So if you're planning to take one exam, which is perfectly okay, then you need to plan accordingly. If you want to be, a little bit more adventurous, or you've got more time available, you may consider taking 2 exams. But the important thing to consider is, if you're working, you've got to ensure you've got enough time to focus on your studies as well. Now, regardless of whether you are taking 1 or 2 exams, you've got to book that exam. Once you book your exam, you know that you have a date that you are working towards, and that's going to further fuel your planning process. So book your exam, and if you're planning to take your exam remotely, then before you book your exam, we strongly recommend that you run the system test to ensure that your laptop or your desktop, whatever you're going to be using, meets the minimum technical requirements for the exam, and also to ensure that your desk setup meets the minimum exam regulatory requirements as well. So book that exam, get your study plan sorted, and move towards your exam.
That's great. Booking the exam sounds like a great step that students should be taking. But I'm just thinking about, when I'm studying or even trying to get into the mindset of studying, sometimes distractions get in the way. So what strategies do you have in terms of trying to minimize those distractions?
Yeah. There's a couple of things that you can do as a student to really minimize that. Now, we know our phones, our devices basically rule our lives. So what you need to do is switch off your phone. I know we're often reluctant to do that, so at least mute your phone and put it out of sight so you don't see the notifications pop up. And I would also say put it out of reach as well, because there's always that temptation just to check what notifications have come through since you last checked 5 minutes ago. So put it out of sight and mute your phone. Also, I'd strongly advise that you set up a dedicated workspace. So clear all the clutter, leave only what you need to study, remove everything else that you don't need to study. So grab your notes, grab your pens, have your study plan in that space and get going. Make sure that your study environment is comfortable. So it's well lit, it's quiet. If that's a challenge, then get some noise cancelling headphones. It's important that we start to train ourselves to get used to studying in that environment, because once you do that, it's going to increase your productivity when it comes to studying and ultimately your retention as well.
Some great points you've mentioned there about minimizing distractions, particularly the point about your mobile phone and turning that off. I know I did that as a student myself. But I want to come back to some of the resources you called out earlier. You mentioned the Study Hub, the Get Ready modules. Are there any other resources that students can benefit from at this stage of their learning journey?
Well, Krutika, we've got a wealth of resources available, and the ACCA website is the ideal place to start. Students will find a resource finder where all the resources specific to their exam will be available. A good starting point is the syllabus document. And especially if you are resitting an exam, maybe after 1 or 2 sessions, then the syllabus document will highlight any changes to the syllabus since they last took their exam. So have a look at that syllabus changes document, which will highlight those changes. Our syllabus changes come into effect every September, or if you're doing taxation or advanced tax, then the syllabus change is in the month of June. Now, from this resource finder, you will access the Study Hub, which I've already mentioned, and our practice platform. Now, this is an amazing resource that mirrors the real exam environment. So it's going to allow students to play around with the functionality of the spreadsheet that they will find in the exam, as well as the word processing app that they will find in the exam. And on the practice platform, we've got our specimen exams, which allow students to become familiar with the format of their exams and the type of questions they can expect, as well as past exams, practice exams. So a wealth of resources on the practice platform to help students prepare for their exam. We've got other resources as well. So we have our InFocus webinars. Now, our InFocus webinars take place every exam session, and these are exam-specific webinars. They are run by our expert tutors, and they cover things like exam technique, a detailed guide through the examiner's report, which we know highlights those areas where students need to improve, mistakes to avoid. So very, very useful resource to access. And of course, as it's a live event, students have the opportunity to ask questions directly to the expert tutors and get real-time answers. We also have our Get Ahead sessions. Get ahead sessions are run for every exam session. They're not exam specific, but they will highlight any changes in any of the exams and also highlight to students the supports that we've got available for the upcoming exam session.
That all sounds wonderful. So many resources. And you mentioned the website at the beginning. It seems like students can go to that website and they'll get access to all these amazing resources that you've called out.
Absolutely.
Is that correct?
Absolutely. It's the ideal starting point for access to all that we have available.
So brilliant. Bookmark that webpage, right?
Definitely.
Get that bookmarked
Definitely.
in.
Now, in addition to the webpage, I strongly suggest that students download the Student Accountant app. Now, this app has a dedicated section for events and a dedicated section where students can access resources and materials specific to the exam that they're going to take. So download the app and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of the activities.
Brilliant. Mobile learning on the go. That's
Absolutely.
wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Sonia. That's been really useful. You've shared some really great advice and tips. Thank you to everyone watching. Best wishes for your studies, and until next time, goodbye.